All right, there we are. Hello, everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and we are going to do what I've started calling a chocolate basket, simply because they work up, depending on what size you make them, they work up nice to put candy in. So the first one is already put away for something. This one I made earlier today, and they work up really fast. And when you get done crocheting, you turn them the right side out because the right side is on the inside of them. And when you turn them right side out, they look all fancy schmancy. And I like to do a visible join, which is right here. So we'll be going over that. And this is 14 rounds, 14 times around. And then this one is 11 times around. And I'll tell you what they measure out at. If you do 14 rounds, your basket will be about 6 inches tall. If you only do 11 rounds, it'll be 4 inches tall. They are both 6.5 inches across. So they're perfect if you want to give like a small basket of candy to maybe a teacher or a coworker or a boss or whatever, whoever you give gifts to. These work up nice, and then you can fill them with whatever kind of candy you want, or you can put other things in it like a fancy bath, like a bath bomb and maybe a scrub, one of those scrub mitts and things like that, and a bar soap or some liquid soap or whatever. If you've got a teenager, you can make one of these and put crocheted facial scrubs with some facial cleanser and just give that to them. And then the larger one, I think I'm going to make the rest of the ones, I'm going to make only 11 rounds. This one's nice for other things. You could put a flower pot in here if you wanted to just, have something that looks more decorative than your clay pot. You could put the saucer down in there and then put your pot in there. If I had one of the plants from in there, that if it looked better, I'd bring it in and put it in here. So we're going to make one of these. So what you're going to need is a variety of yarns. You're going to hold 4 strands of yarn together to make these. And you want one of the yarns at least, even you can do more than one, but one that's got some texture, like this is homespun. And then what I used on those 2 baskets was this yarn that changes to all kinds of yarn. And this one even had some a metallic section on it. You see the metallic bit shining there? That's all because that's what was in this yarn. So I'm not going to use that one this time. I've picked out 4. I'm going to use this Pebbles, which I need to get this one off from here. And so this will be one of my yarns. This one's going to be interesting to work with because see how it changes? But once you pair this one up with some others, I'm not going to use the homespun this time. So I've got this one, and this was some thrifted yarn with no label. It's also just a textured yarn. So I've got that one, and I've got a second ball of that cream color if I run out. And then I've got just some like Red Heart 4-ply in this chocolate brown. And I've got this ball here. Is that the ball I was going to? I don't think so. I was going to use these. Sorry. I think. Yeah. I got these 2 little sections of them. So what I do is I get the yarns lined up on the table so that they're pulling off at the same speed, and I don't pull off a bunch off any of them. I pull as I go. so that I don't end up with a tangled mess. And you're just going to match up your ends. Get you started. And we'll match that one up. And then the brown. All right. And I'm going to do a magic ring. Sorry about that. And oh, the hook. I'm using the 8mm, which is an L, if I remember right. And thank you, Teresa, for sending this to me. I'm going to point you guys down so you can really watch my hands instead of me. And sorry if my shirt offends anybody. It is what it is. It's how I feel. All right, so let's get this excess of yarn put back toward them. And so you can see I've got that one there, this one here, here, and then this one. And I've got some that I can switch over onto. But you want them to be where you're pulling from them evenly. All right. Then I'm going to do a magic ring. I'm going to hold my 4 yarns with my pinky. I'm going to put it up over my index and my middle finger, back over. And so it crosses on the index finger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach under this group of 4, grab this group and twist and come up. And then I'll kind of drop the ring, but I'm going to hold it here. Get my strands back under control. Let's see here. Let me get it right. There we go. And then I'm going to chain 1. Okay. Chained 1. Now I'm going to put 8 single crochets into the center of this ring. So just go in the hole of the ring and do a single crochet, which is a UK double. So there's 1. And then I check to make sure I still have my 4 strands on my hook. And there's 2 and 3, 4. All right, so now I'm going to, because I've used up what I had, I'm going to pull a little bit off each of my strands of yarn. So that was 1, 2, 3. Let me look at this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to pull some more loose now again. And of course I've got some yarn vomit. Let me set this down and get this untangled. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. And if it's getting to where the circle is growing, grab your tails and just pull them. There you go. And now the circle is smaller, but you've got it under control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I still have all 4 of my strands on my hook. All right, let me get some of this free again. This is so much easier if you have caked all of your skeins of yarn, because when you have to stop to unroll, that takes time. Or if you can get 3 center pulls really good, that works better. I'm just pulling off that. See, this has been, I'm working off the round, and I don't generally like to do that. Sorry about that. All right, so now every once in a while you'll see me just pull down through. That's to keep all my strings at the same level. All right, so we've got our 8 stitches on there. We want to close this circle up entirely. So you just pull on these until that pull just shuts right up and it looks like a donut. Okay? So we're going to cover these as we go. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to work into this one right here. And we'll lay this on top of those. And then we're going to slip stitch through the first stitch and then in there. Then chain 1. All right. And then we want to put 2 in every stitch. So in the same stitch where we joined, we're going to put 2 more single crochets. So there's 1, 2, and you do that all the way around. And I'm going to try to keep this going here. 2, and then we'll go into this next stitch. 1 and 2, and I'm going in under where you see like this little V. I'm going under that is where I'm putting the stitches, and I'm just trying to keep these tails going along so they're hidden. It'll be easier for you to see where the stitches are going. Now see, it's starting to bunch up here. That means I need to find that specific yarn and just kind of give it a little tug, and that straightens it back out. All right, 1, 2. So when you get around, you should have 16 stitches. All right. And see, I'm bunching up again. Got to take a minute and get it straightened out. This is easier when people aren't watching me too. All right, so that's 2 in there. One, 2, make sure I've got my 4 strands still on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. This strand right here is the one that's giving me all the trouble, so I'm going to try to pull some of that away. That's why, like I was saying earlier, this is so much easier if you have a way to cake your squares into where they're pulling nice and even from a center pull. This is so much easier. And you don't pull off a lot at a time. I guess I should have caked up those other 2. It's okay though. We'll get it figured out. All right. We still got some more to go. I could probably even go larger with this particular collection of yarn with a bigger hook. And I wouldn't be having, I would have a bigger pathway for them. So we need to go in here. 1 and 2. Whoops, see, I dropped them. So now I just pull those up and I get those back on the hook. So this is my last 2. 1, 2. And now when you do your join, you're going to do it in the first single crochet. You're not going to do it in your slip stitch or chain one. So if you're looking at this, there's a stitch here, and there's a stitch there. This is this part of here. And then this is your chain one. We want to go into this stitch. And if you are uncertain, if you know the number of stitches, start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think I've picked up an extra stitch somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have. Where did I accidentally put in too many stitches? So I got 2, there's 2, there's 2, there's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's odd. I should have 16 stitches. Oh, I don't want to rip it back. I think if I go in here, we should still be okay. So I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1. It's really bothering me. All right, so I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch. 1, 2, and then in the next stitch, I'm only going to put 1. 1. And then 2 in the next one, and then 1 in the next one around. So 1, 2, and I've got my yarn is balling up. And you can kind of see which yarn is misbehaving. 1, 2, and then 1. And then 2 into this stitch. 1 and 2. And 1 into the next stitch. And then 2 into the next one. 2. And then 1 in this one. And then 2 in the next one. 2. And then 1 in here. Sometimes it gets a little fiddly because you're dealing with 8 strands of yarn. So there's 1 and then 2 here. 1 and 2. Work out some more loose yarn here. Next time I do a tutorial, I'll make sure everything is caked into flat cakes like this because, oh, this is crazy. I wasn't thinking about that. 1, and then we did 2 here, so this will be 1. And then 2 in the next one. 1, 2, and then 1 here. And then 2 in the next one. 1, 2, 2, and then 1. 2. All right, and I can see I'm back at the beginning because this is where we started. So that's where we joined. That's our chain down in there, and this was the first stitch. Let me count these now. If you draw up a big loop, you know that that's where you need to put your hook back in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. See, now it says I have 26. So let's see. 8 and 8, 16. 8 times 3. I should have only 24. I don't. 1, 2, 3. Is that right? We had 8 in the middle. The next row, we doubled that. So 8 and 8 is 16. And then 16 plus 8 added on should have been the 24. So I'm actually, I don't know where I picked up 2 more stitches, but I'm just going to keep going because this is just a basket. If this was like a piece of clothing, I would rip it out and start again, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. We're just going to keep going. Now this round, we're going to join with the slip stitch and chain 1. I just like to do that because then I don't have to mark this first stitch. I can just keep going. So on this row, we want to do 2 in the first one, and then so it's 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 around. So let's put 2 in this same stitch. 1, 2, and then 1 in this one. So there's 1, and there's 2. And then we'll do 2 in the next one. 1, 2, and then 1 in this one. There's 1, and 1 in the next one. And then we'll do 2 in the next one. 1 and 2. And then do a single one here. So 1, and then there's 2. Hi, Sherry. Oh, I don't want to. I make these all the time. I'm just struggling because I didn't cake them up. This is a pattern I made up myself, and sometimes I'll even change the side stitches. Once you start crocheting, I don't write my patterns down unless somebody insists on it. And then we're going to do a single one here because I know what I'm supposed to have on each row. It's just not working out because I messed up on that first one or somewhere, or the second row, I mean. There was 2 there, so I need to do 1 there and 1 here, and then 2 here. Uh-oh. 1, 2, and I probably should have picked not so many bumpy yarns. And then, so that was 2 there. So we'll put 1 in here. And then 2 in this one. And then the next 2 will only get 1 stitch. You could make these for hot pads too, because look how thick that is to put down to protect your table. I would recommend using organic fibers for that though. So there's 1 there, and then we'll put 1 in this one, and then 2 in this one. 2, and then 1 in this one, and 1 in this one. Whoops, that one ball, because it's not flat, is rolling all over the place. So there's 2, 1, 1, and then 2 here, 1, 2. This increase works for hats. It works for bowls. Let me get this pulled. 1, 1, 2, and 1. Whoops, I lost one of them. 1, and then 1. And this is supposed to be 2, 1, 2. And if I hadn't messed it up earlier, I would end with the 2 singles. But I'm going to end up with 1 single instead of 2. But that's going to be how this basket is. And see, I could start now, but on those others, I did it around. So let me get a piece of paper here. And I'll write it down for those that want to remember it. All right, so into a magic loop. Into a magic loop. Work 8 single crochets. Join with a slip stitch in the first one. Join with slip stitch in first single crochet. Chain 1. The second row is 2 single crochets in every single crochet. Row 3 is 2 single crochets in the first single crochet. So then 1 single crochet in the next one. And so you'd repeat 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet around in the stitches. And then row 4 is 2 singles, and then you would work 2 stitches of 1 single crochet. 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and repeat around. And that was row 4. Row 5 will be 2 single crochets and then 3 with just 1 single crochet around. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on row 5. So now we're going to do 2 singles in this first stitch. So we got to join in the first one. So remember, this is our joining stitch. This was the chain 1. This is the stitch we need to work in. So we're going to slip stitch, chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And that one needs to be. And now we're going to work the 3 as singles. So 1, 2, 3. It's really mathematics in that you are repeating a pattern. All math is repeated patterns. You have to be able to recognize the patterns. Hi, Joyce. So we've done our 2 in the first one, and then we've done the 3 singles, 1, 2, 3. So the next stitch, we're going to put 2, 1. Oh, see how this is bunching? It's this one. So you reach down at the end of that and just pull it straight. Work it out. There we go. You just got to keep, when you're working with more than one strand, you got to take time to make it behave. So we put our 2 there. So now we're going to do 3 as singles. 1, 1, and 1. Then we're going to put 2 in this one. 1 and 2, and I'm bunched up. See that? See all that bunching up? So I'm going to back out of this stitch, and I'm going to get my thread to behave. You got to kind of watch as you go. It is so much easier if you cake them up. It really is. 2, 1, 2. Wait a sec. There's 2. 1, 2, 3. We're working the second one here. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 in this one. 1. And see, it's bunching up again. So I'm going to reach down here, see if we can straighten out some of this mess. There's 2. Now we're going to do the 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do 2 in the next one. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1. And we'll do 2 here. 1, 2. And then the 3 on their own. So 1, 2, 3. Looking to see where my join is. Okay, 2. Okay, and then 2 here. Whoops. See, I dropped one. I can see when there's a free loop here, I know that I've dropped it. 1, 2. And then 1. I've lost this one. See how that does? So I'll put my hook back in here. Pull these out so I can get my yarns back together. There's 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. That's what I like about crochet. If you see where you've messed up, you can just pull back to it. It's so much easier than knitting. 1, 2, and then 1 here. And then the next one we'll put 2 in. 1, 2, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3 on their own. 1 there. 1, 3, and then 2 here. 1, 2. Now I'm not going to get my 3 because I don't have that many stitches left to work where I messed up, but you should end up, if your pattern is repeated correctly, you should end up with the pattern ending with the 3. So I'm ending with the 2 instead. And I still have 4 strands on, so I know I've got all my yarns there. All right, so rows 6 through 11, all you're going to do is flat out single crochet around and around and around. So 6 through 11, rows 6 through 11, single crochet around. That's it. That's how I make these baskets. I am about to run out of one of my yarns, and I do not tie them together. I just see, looks like I can do at least 1 or 2 more stitches with what I've got in here. So maybe I can start off my next row. So that's the join, the slip stitch. That's the chain 1, and I want to go in here and slip stitch on and chain 1. All right. And do 1 single crochet. I think I can get this one, or maybe we'll go that far, because see this little tail I have right here, that's the yarn I'm running out of. So I've got my start of my single crochet, I've got my tail, which I'll hide underneath, and then I've got this other spool or little hank of yarn. I'm going to go ahead and get this so it's down to just the little ball. And what I do is I match these 2 up like this, and then I kind of hold those 2 together. So now I have both tails over here, and I'm going to come under and grab that. So I got that new yarn is now in play. And I just do like this. I don't knot it. I just do the first, like you were first going to tie a bow. I do that, and then I just hide everything up under the next stitch. So I let those right on top of the previous row. And I just single crochet around. And hide my tails. And because we are not adding any more stitches, the sides will start to form. So if you guys will hang with me, we're just going to go around and around here. And I do eyeball my hook every once in a while to make sure I still have 4 strands continually riding on the hook there. This is a good way to use yarn that you thrift that you don't know what you don't have enough of it. You can pair it with other yarns. You could even use the specialty like fun fur type stuff, but then that leads to a very furry bowl, and that's not very very conducive. And see, now the little ties are hidden inside the stitches I just did. You can't even see where I joined the join. And I figured I'd just come on and do this, and whoever was available would be here. It wasn't really planned, but I thought these worked up so cute. And then I started calling them chocolate bowls because they are like the perfect size for like a bag of Dove, those little Dove bars, or some mini chocolate bars. If you're going to give something, I could see making one of these up and put a little candy in it for my mail girl that comes around. If I could guarantee I got her during the Christmas holidays, I could stick one out and tell her Merry Christmas. Because our mail carriers don't get enough thanks. It's kind of a thankless job. My thumbs are getting tired. That's one thing about doing these with the big hook and big yarns. It's very tiring. I will probably have to ice my thumbs after this. But the baskets turn out so cute. You could do a row and do it like a chain section and skip some stitches and make little handles. You know, there's so many different ways you can change these up. You can do a different stitch. I'm trying to get these to get straight again. There we go. If you had some like strips of sari ribbon, you could add that in as one of your yarns. You could probably even do it with just sari ribbon held together and make a really pretty, that would be pretty in that sari fabric. I can see Tylenol in my future for my poor thumbs. You can see how red this is getting. The thicker the yarn, the harder it is to work it. At least that is what I have found. I keep thinking in my head, relax, relax. This is supposed to be a soothing activity. And I still, once I start doing the sides, I just keep doing the slip stitch, you know, at the very beginning with the chain one, just so I can see where my join is, which is right there. You can see how these are like sideways. That's where I've joined. So I've already made it around. So that's row 6. So we have 5 more rows to go to get to 11. So we'll skip that, go into this one here. Chain 1. And then we'll single crochet here. This will be row 7. Just checking to make sure I still have 4 strands on there. I do. I have more of the cream, but I might have to go just until I run out of that brown yarn, that light brown. I have more of the Pebbles yarn. I don't want to introduce another color, you know, this close to the end of the basket. But if you wanted to use your scraps up, you could use just scrap yarns and just change your colors, you know, willy-nilly. You might end up with a really cool basket. In fact, I have a bunch of small balls. I might do that. And if I do, I'll post a picture on my community tab of my funky scrappy bowl. I still have 4. These are such pretty little baskets. They would be nice on an entry to hold your car keys or your husband's wallet or whatever you drop near the front door or on your dresser. It could be your catch-all on your dresser for toenail clippers and tweezers and, that kind of thing, for all that matters. I just think it makes a lovely gift for anybody. And if you include a bag of chocolates, how nice is that? Or even some homemade cookies. You could do cookies and put them in plastic bags and drop them in here. They'd get a useful gift they could use into the future, and they could eat the goodies. Of course, we know we all get too many sweets at Christmas, right? And this is using up that strange yarn. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And I was thinking I'd make up about 25 of these for Scott to take into work and share with his team. Let's see, I've got to get this worked out here. Give me a second. When you see it start, getting all together near your hook, that's when you need to fix that and straighten it out, because it'll just become even more of a nightmare. I saw Debbie Epps was on selling papers and stuff, and I would love to help, support her and buy some stuff. I don't need anything, and I'm trying so hard not to spend any money this Christmas and make all handmade gifts for the people I love and the people I want to thank. I promise, as we go, the sides will start to form. You can see how it's starting to turn. And we're on row 7, I think. I'll count them when I get around here. I'm pretty sure this is round 7. Uh-oh. Isn't it amazing what you can do with just a hook? And you don't have to spend a bunch of money at Christmas time. There's no need for it. Don't buy into all the rigmarole on the news on the TV and the internet. We're being sold to 24/7 these days, and I would rather spend the time making gifts with the items I have than to go out and spend money on something that's going to end up on a shelf and then at Goodwill in no time, And I prefer consumable, useful items over, fly in the pan, use it a couple times and then say, oh, that's not what I really wanted. That's like throwing your money away. Consumable, useful items. See how this is all bunched up? This is when you fix that. Fix it now. There you go. See, that straightens it right back out. I have lost the brown. So I'm going to go back and stick my hook into the last stitch. All 4 were there. That's what happens if you don't watch and you keep going and you drop one and then it gets all tangled. You have to keep an eye that you always have 4 yarns on your hook. Now I know Mary Lou, she made some great big baskets and I think she said she held 7 things together and a great big hook. My cats love me to make these baskets. They think they're all for them. So I have to, when I'm working on these, as soon as I'm done, I have to put them in a closet somewhere where they can't get because they think they're beds for them. Howard's like, oh, you're making me a new bed? No, I'm not. All right, we're back at the beginning. And I'm going to join this with a slip stitch. There we go. And I'm going to verify I'm on, that was row 7. And then chain 1. So if you turn this over, actually you can count it better here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 more times. I have more of the cream. No more of that tan, I don't think. Let me look real quick. I think this is all black. Maybe not. I mean, I could, I guess, switch it to something like that. That's awful different. That's blues and grays and black in there. Those would be pretty together just as a basket on their own. I'm just looking to see if I have anything else that's, if not, I'll have to just make an executive decision and add a color. I could use this one, I guess. It's going to look odd, although there is that color in there. Hold that thought. I do have this one here too. We might could finish it off with this one if we have to. So I'm going to put that in one of those baskets. That's a nice bag. Getting sidetracked. ADD out the window. All right. So let's do some more single crochets. Just keep going round and round and round. If you wanted and you knew you were going to do the visible join, you could thread on some beads and catch them where you're in your join once you get to start working on the side and coming up, and that way the beads would be on that join area, and that looks cool too. Trying to get that brown one to behave again. So let's see. Do I have any story I could tell? Scott fixed the piece that kept the cord out of the way for that sander was missing. And so he dug around in his parts and stuff out in the garage, and he has made the part that moves to keep the cord out of your way when you're sanding the floor. So he welded up a piece and put it together, and it looks really good. And he was talking about ripping up flooring, but I think he's about had it for today. Maybe we can do some of that tomorrow. Still need to get that last little bit done in that front room. It'd be nice to have it done for Christmas. For the holidays. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they're all still there, but they sure are giving me a hard time at this other end. This one's certainly staying like a pizza pan a lot longer than I thought it should. I don't know why this isn't curling and going up. I think on my next round, I'm going to work some decreases. So I'm going to reverse how I joined, and I'm going to decrease. So I'll do 3 and then do a decrease stitch to get this to pull in more. Because it doesn't seem to want to pull in. I did not have to do that on those other 2 baskets. It might be the selection of yarn I chose for this basket is why I'm not coming up like I did on those others, because I didn't do any decreases on like this one. And see how it turned? See the difference? This one is turning, but not as fast as this one had. So that's interesting. I think it depends on the yarn you choose. So I guess you're going to see what to do if your yarn doesn't start, if it stays like a pizza pan, a round pizza pan with a slight edge. I'll show you how to do a decrease. I'm going to do a decrease round. And I think I'm going to have to open that other pebbles and the other cream during that round, but it'll be all right. The pebbles is the name of the yarn. That's why I keep saying that. But as usual, or as I did 3 baskets before this one, and I wasn't in front of y'all, and they worked fine, and my count was fine and everything. But because I'm doing it in front of you guys, I'm messing up. And that's the reality. Even the people on YouTube, we mess up. And I'm not editing any of my boo-boos. I'd rather be making stuff than editing a video. So I'm sorry if that offends anybody. Okay, I'm coming up on my join. See the little ladder steps right there? So we're almost around again. So that was round, what did we say, 7? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, that was round 8. All right, so I'm going to do my join with a slip stitch and then a chain 1. And then I'm going to do a single crochet into 2 of them. So there's 1 single crochet and then 1 single crochet. And now the next one, I'm going to work over 2 stitches, but I'm not going to go all the way. I'm not going to go all the way under this stitch. I'm only going to come in here and draw up a loop. And then I'm going into the next stitch and only on that front half and drawing up a loop. And then I'll draw through all 3. And that decreases it by a stitch. Sorry. All right, and then I'm going to do 2 singles. 1, 2, and then I'm going to do that decrease again, which is here. So we'll draw up a loop, then go in the next stitch and draw up a loop. And when you do that, where it's only going under half of that stitch, you don't end up with that great big join spot. I learned that in a short. All right, and now I'm going to go into the next stitch and do 1 and go in the next stitch and do 1, and then I'm going to go under this one and draw up a loop, go under this one, draw up a loop, and then I'm going to draw through all 3, and then I'll do 2 single crochets, 1 there, and then 1 in the next one as soon as I get control of my yarn, and 1 in the next one, and then I'm going to decrease over the next 2. So draw up a loop, go in the next stitch, draw up a loop, and you'll see what happens is when you do these decreases, see how fast it's bringing that edge in? So this basket's still going to be a chocolate basket, but it's going to be a different shape. So 1 and 2. And then we'll draw up a loop on this one. And then we'll go in here and draw up a loop on that one. And then pull through there. And then a single all the way through. 1, 2, and then I'm going to decrease over these 2. There's a loop, and then draw through all 3, and then 1 and 2. And then I'm going to do a decrease over the next. So I'm going to go through just half of that and draw up a loop, half of that and draw up a loop, and then pull this through. And I still have my 4 yarns on there. And then we'll do 2 stitches by themselves. 1, and there's 2. I might have to take some masking tape to this because it's been picking up stuff. All right, and then we'll do 2 singles. 1, 2, and draw up a loop on that one, draw up a loop on that one. When I learned to do only half of the stitches instead of going all the way through to do a decrease, I'm pulling the wrong one. It just makes a world of difference on the finished product. It really does. So now we're going to do that again. No, this is where we just did that. So now we need 2 on their own. We're almost back to our beginning. 1, and then there's 1 there. Oh, see what a mess I've got because I've pulled off too much. All right. So now we're going to do a decrease over 2 stitches again. So we come and we do half of that. And when I say half, you see how this has got a V? You want to go under just that first part and draw up a loop. And then you see that V again. And you're only going to go to this one side and draw up a loop. And then draw through all 3 of them. And that way you've worked 2 stitches together. Whoops, snagged too many things. There's 1 on its own, and 1 on its own. And then we'll do another decrease. Callie, please don't dig me. Come on, stop. And then we'll draw through all 3 on there, making sure I still have 4 threads on there. And then I will do a single one here, maybe, and a single one here. And we're back at the beginning. So now I'll go back to just doing single crochet around the outside. And see how fast that brought that side in? So now as I go, it's going to be, it'll have like a little lip in here now because I've done all those decrease stitches. let's see what we've got here. We got a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of this is in the way. Let's pull some of that back here. Let's bring it back over this way. Okay. That Pebbles yarn is cool. It's like got microfiber hairs on it, and it grabs the other yarns. All right, so I'm going to go back to doing my join and a chain one, and now I'm just going to do single crochets around again, because we did that decrease row. We have a lot less stitches to hit on our way around. I'm almost out of some of the yarns. But you can make all kinds of shaped baskets by increasing and decreasing the number of stitches in a round, and you can decide what pattern you want to repeat for your decreases. So instead of doing a decrease stitch and 2 singles, I could have done a decrease stitch and 3 singles, and I would have ended up with a different shape because the pattern changed, right? And that's all math is a bunch of patterns. Once you learn to recognize the patterns, mathematics becomes a whole lot easier when you realize you're looking for the patterns. And it's all math. So even the math you think you'll never use, your brain uses it all the time. So if you're a younger person listening to this and you're struggling, stick with that math, man. Do your best to learn as much as you can of it. I wish I'd taken more math. I think I would have enjoyed it. It was a different plight, different time, and I was living in a very different place and different circumstances. So make your circumstances change. You never know what's out there. Just waiting for you. But you also have to be aware that there's things waiting for you that are not nice too. You got to learn to recognize that as well. Okay, I'm about to run out of the cream too. Oh man, I thought I'd be done in an hour. All right. All right, let's see here. I'm going to pull this up here. So that's the start of that stitch. And I'm going to separate this, bring it over here. And I've got this other ball of that same cream. Was bought for 2 for $1. Oh boy. You going to give me a headache? Where is the end of this? There it is. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to do the same thing I did last time and pull this up here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I am going to just do like a first tie like that. And that goes up under there and hides. And then I'm just going to crochet over the top of these tails. And bam, it's hidden. Callie, what's the matter? Why do you keep coming to get me? We have kittens in the yard. I've got to catch them and their mother and see if I can't find somebody that'll take them in and find them homes, because I can't take on any more cats. There's too many out there. Way too many. I have, I think, like 8 regulars now that are spare cats that I can't afford to take to the vet. They just show up. Scott says we're cat pre-approved. I was like, well, I think we're done. I love cats to death, but oh my gosh, there really is a thing of too many. Oh my word. Okay. My arms are getting so tired, you guys. Let's see. It's because I've already made, this is the third one I've done of these today. And note to self, if it's not in a cake, get it caked up. Since I have the thing to make the cakes, thanks to the Mary Altier, she sent that to me. That makes a world of difference when you can just pull a thread and not have a ball rolling around or anything, and it just pulls from the center so lovely and all that stuff. Do I still have 4? And I'm about to run out of another one. Yeah. Give me a sec. This one's still a pain in the neck. Okay, so I did there. All right, and I'm back to the join. And we're going to need that other one. Everybody's just watching, not chatting tonight. That's okay. And then we'll chain 1. And we can probably do the first single crochet. And do that one. All right, where's the tail of the, let's take a minute. We'll stop right there. We'll get this tail for the funky yarn. The one with the bumps on it. See, I have another skein. Somebody got this at Joann's for 97 cents. And it looks like I'm going to have to work it in the round because I'm not seeing a pull. So you see how it's like it's got mohair in it. And that's what's causing me a little bit of trouble. We'll make it happen. So I'm going to put the 2 tails together. Come up under here. That way I can grab it. And now it's incorporated in. And I am going to do like a single tie on here. Just so it has something to fight against. And then I'll crochet over the top of these. And just like magic, they disappear. This one's a very different shape, but it would still hold chocolates or knickknacks and thingamabobs. Oh dear. Now see, if you left and you didn't know I was going to do decreases, you won't know how to do this unless you watch the whole video from the beginning. Oh dear. Anyway, I'm having fun. Might as well put it out there for anybody that wants to make a basket. It really is not as hard as I've made it look. Just get your yarn into cakes. That makes the biggest difference when you're combining yarn. It really does. It really, really does. And your baskets, none of them are going to turn out exactly alike because a lot of it depends on your tension that you're using, how you're holding the yarn. I'm curious, why are you joining the rounds? Just so I can see where they are. And I like the way it looks on the outside, the joins. I just like how it looks. That's why. If you put a stitch marker in your first stitch, you wouldn't have to do that. I just like it the way it looks on them. And if you add a bead, when you string the beads all on your yarns when you start, and then as you do a join, you do your join in such a way that you lock a bead in this section that goes across in your join sections, so that where the join sections are, there would be a bead sticking out on the side of it. That looks cool too. That's the only reason. That's the only reason, Joyce. If you don't want to do a join, just get you a stitch marker. And a stitch marker doesn't have to be a stitch marker. It can be a safety pin. It can be a different colored piece of yarn that you just loop over the first stitch. Again, it's one of those things that if you don't have to spend money, why would you? I mean, it's not a necessity to do the job, is what I'm trying to say. What are you doing, yarn? Oh, next time I do one of these, if I come on and it's not caked up, one of y'all kick me and tell me to go cake the yarn before and then start again. I cannot believe the struggle is real, folks. Yeah, that's the only reason, my friend Joyce. That's the only reason. It's real easy for me to see where the beginning of the round is, and I don't have to deal with a marker of any sorts. Basically, it's because Becky's lazy and she likes how it looks. Let's see what we've got. Oh dear, we're almost out of that brown. And the problem I'm going to have with that is I don't really have any more of it. Let me count my rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm on round 11. Oh, this is the last round. This is my last round. I mean, I could keep going, but I was only going to go to 11. So I'm going to make it without having to change to another yarn. So this one will look more like I don't know, some kind of short pot, but it would still hold goodies. So that just goes to show, if you make a mild mistake, you just end up with a different shaped basket. All my baskets start the same count with the 8, and then double it, and then do a round with an increased stitch and a single crochet, a single stitch and an increased stitch, and then the next round is an increased stitch and 2 singles, and then the third, and then I start just working up the sides. And I think it's because of the choice of yarn. Okay, this is where I'm going to stop. So what I'm going to do is try to get this here. I'm going to pull this up here, but then I'm going to stop for a second, and I'm going to leave a tail, get where I am. And I'm just going to cut this free from its gobbledygook. And I'm going to pull this up all the way through. Pull it up. There we go. And then I need to get this through here. Actually, I need it to come down through the top of this and draw these tails back through here. And then I'm going to bring them back around over here. Pull them through here. And then what you see on the outside is actually the inside of the basket, but I'm going to weave these in, and I'm going to get a smaller crochet hook, and I'm just going to pick some areas, and I'm going to pull all 4 strands down through. I think that Pebbles must have some kind of mohair in it or something, because it grabs onto everything. So I don't think I have to worry about this coming undone. And I'm just going to work this through several stitches in one direction, and then work several back the other way, and then I'll cut any excess off. Let me move this because that's confusing. And you're not going to see these because they'll be on the inside of the basket here in a minute. And I'm just going to find a place, stick my hook in, pull these back in, and then I'll lay that, and then I'm going to work back the other way. So I'm going to find a space where I can see a stitch, grab this stuff, pull it down through, and I'll do that through several stitches. It doesn't even have to go under all 4 of the previous stitch. It can go under just a couple of them. All right, I'll pull that down through. Then I'm just going to cut this. And then I'll take the whole thing and turn it right side out. And there's that little pot. So it's still a usable basket. Oh, and there's Teresa. See, Teresa, here it is. And I've saved your envelope with my Happy Meal stuff. I'm going to make a journal with all the Happy Meal I've gotten this year. So there's the one I just showed you guys how to make. And then here's the other 2 that I've made today, starting the same way, but ended up with different baskets. And these are both 11 rounds, and this is 14. So it ends up taller, you know, the more rounds. And see how these turned and came up, and then this one didn't. So I did a decreased row, and I was able to get it to come in some and then go up a little bit. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to keep making these. And like I said, I'm planning to send them with Scott. Last year I made hats and he took them in. This year they're going to get handmade bowls to show up. And I'm just trying to use up my stash before I buy anything else. And like I said in a previous video, because I have so much acrylic, anytime I go thrifting now, I'm looking for organic yarns or natural fibers. It made it just fine. So there you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for the ones that hung around to the bitter end. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next video that I come up with. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.